You've probably pulled an all-nighter before. You felt tired, groggy, maybe a little irritable. But what happens if you push it further? What if you stay awake for 2 days? 3 days? What happens to your brain when you refuse to shut it down? The answer is disturbing, and it might make you think twice before skipping sleep again. Let's start with the first 24 hours. This is the stage most people are familiar with. After a full day without sleep, your cognitive abilities begin to decline. Your reaction times slow down. Your ability to focus and make decisions becomes impaired. It feels like being drunk. In fact, studies have found that being awake for 24 hours is comparable to having a blood alcohol concentration of 0.1%, above the legal driving limit. You become irritable. You experience mood swings. Your body starts producing more stress hormones like cortisol, which can make you feel on edge. At this stage, you're tired. You're exhausted, but you're still functional. Your brain is struggling, but it's managing. Then comes the 36-hour mark. This is where things start to get strange. Your urge to sleep becomes overwhelming. Your coordination deteriorates. Tasks that require balance or fine motor skills become noticeably harder. You might find yourself dropping things more often. You might stumble while walking. Your body is sending you clear signals that something is wrong. But the most dangerous thing that happens at this stage is microsleeps. Microsleeps are brief episodes, lasting anywhere from a fraction of a second to 30 seconds, where your brain shuts down involuntarily. You might be standing, talking, even driving. And without warning, your brain enters a sleep-like state. You might not even realize it happened. After a microsleep, you can feel confused or disoriented. And if you're driving, it can be fatal. One moment you're on the road. The next moment, you're waking up in a ditch. At 48 hours without sleep, you enter what experts call extreme sleep deprivation. Your immune system starts to weaken. Inflammatory markers in your blood increase, making you more susceptible to illness. Your body temperature drops. You might feel unusually cold even in a warm room. Your emotional regulation collapses. You become more prone to anxiety, depression, and sudden mood swings. One moment you're laughing. The next moment, you're crying. You can't control it. But the most significant change is cognitive. Your memory, attention, and problem-solving skills are severely impaired. You can't remember what you did 5 minutes ago. You can't focus on a single task for more than a few seconds. Multitasking becomes nearly impossible, and the microsleeps become more frequent and longer. Your brain is failing you. Now comes the 72-hour mark. 3 days without sleep. This is where the brain begins to break down. After 72 hours, your perception of reality becomes severely distorted. The overwhelming urge to sleep becomes uncontrollable. You may not be able to stay awake on your own. You're fighting a battle you can't win. But the most frightening symptom is hallucinations. They become more complex and vivid. You might see things that aren't there, hear sounds that have no source, feel sensations that have no cause. Your brain is essentially dreaming while you're awake. You experience delusions, disordered thinking, paranoia. You might become convinced that someone is following you. You might believe that people are plotting against you. You lose touch with reality. At this stage, the clinical picture resembles acute psychosis. In fact, a scientific review of sleep deprivation studies found that after 72 hours without sleep, the symptoms closely match those of a psychotic episode. You lose the ability to distinguish between what's real and what's not. The world becomes distorted. You become untethered from reality. Why does this happen? Because sleep is not optional. It's not a luxury. It's essential maintenance. During sleep, your brain clears out metabolic waste, including amyloid beta, a protein linked to Alzheimer's disease. During sleep, your brain consolidates memories and processes emotions. During sleep, your immune system repairs itself. Without sleep, these essential functions cease. Your brain becomes flooded with toxins. Your neural pathways become less efficient. Your brain is essentially choking on its own waste. The stress from sleep deprivation triggers a cascade of negative effects. Stress hormones elevate. Inflammation increases. This inflammation impacts the brain networks responsible for perception and reality testing. The pathways that keep you grounded in reality begin to fail. You lose the ability to distinguish between internal thoughts and external stimuli. That's what causes hallucinations. A 2025 study from the University of East Anglia found that sleep loss significantly increases paranoia, hallucinations, cognitive disorganization, and distress. The study concluded that sleep loss plays a causal role in the development of psychotic experiences. It's not that sleep deprivation causes psychosis permanently, but it can temporarily induce a state that's virtually identical. You're not going crazy. You're just severely sleep deprived. There's an important distinction to make. Hallucinations are not the same as illusions. An illusion is a misinterpretation of something real. You see a coat rack and mistake it for a person. You hear the wind and mistake it for a voice. A hallucination is different. There's no external stimulus. You see something that simply isn't there. But here's a surprising fact. Hallucinations are more common than you think. After just 48 hours of sleep deprivation, some people start having simple hallucinations. Visual misperceptions, shadows in the corner of your eye, flashes of light. By 72 hours, they become more complex and realistic. You might have full conversations with people who aren't there. You might believe you're somewhere you're not. You might be wondering, do these effects last? The good news is that most symptoms resolve once you get sleep. A period of normal sleep can reverse the psychotic-like state. You won't be permanently damaged. But there's a caveat. Some research suggests that prolonged sleep deprivation can have long-term consequences. Chronic sleep deprivation is linked to increased risk of cardiovascular disease, metabolic disorders, and even cognitive decline over time. The damage accumulates. The body is resilient. But it's not invincible. What's the longest someone has gone without sleep? The world record is 11 days and 24 minutes. It was set by Randy Gardner in 1964 at age 17. He stayed awake for 264 hours. And while he experienced severe cognitive impairment and hallucinations, he recovered with no permanent damage. He was lucky. But it's important to note that Guinness World Records stopped monitoring this category because of the serious health risks associated with sleep deprivation. The record is no longer recognized. It's considered too dangerous to attempt. There are documented cases of people dying from prolonged sleep deprivation. It's rare, but it happens. The body is resilient, but it has limits. Sleep is not optional. It is essential, and the longer you go without it, the more your brain begins to fall apart. You are not your productivity. You are not your output. You are a human being, and human beings need sleep. So the next time you're tempted to pull an all-nighter, remember this. Your brain is not designed to function without rest, and the cost of skipping sleep is far greater than you think.